There's a problem with the AI trading trend that I've seen. Now, if you scroll on YouTube and you search AI trading, there's a lot of people who say they gave AI a bunch of money to trade on their trading bots and AI is trading for them. Now, none of these are actually 100% hands-off, like the AI is doing it. It's like 100% on its own. So not all of these are just AI purely. Now, AI can build your trading strategy. Maybe if you've heard of OpenClaw, the AI agent that works on your machine 24/7, it could potentially try to trade for you, but I'm assuming if anyone has tried OpenClaw, it's probably going to lose your entire account really quickly. Now, I have a couple of these. If you search AI trading, this is my video right here. And the thing is, ChatGPT or Anthropic or DeepSeek can definitely help you build a trading strategy, and then you would go ahead and then trade with it. So that's not technically AI trading, although it's AI assisted strategy development or AI assisted trading. Now, if you actually just like let an AI agent take over your account, I don't have a high degree of confidence in that. It's probably going to just enter irrational trades, and then if it messes up, it'll say, "Oops, sorry, my bad," and then there's no accountability. So the state currently right now of these models not fully capable without a human assist as well. So I'm going to show you my method, and there actually was a really interesting story that I want to talk about. I'm going to show you the most advanced method that I feel like a lot of people are missing out on. So subscribe to the channel, Trade Tactics, and right now I've got 64,000 subscribers. I'm going for 100,000. So hit like on the video. It helps boost it in the algorithm. And I hope this video will offer you a lot of help. So one of the big things that happened over the last year was DeepSeek came out. Now, DeepSeek is a Chinese model. They used far less money. It was only, I think, $7 million to train the model compared to ChatGPT, which is in the billions. And the founder actually was originally trying to make the model. They weren't trying to publish it. They were just trying to use it for AI trading, and it didn't work. So they just released it as a model. Now you could go to DeepSeek and you can use it. It's a really good model. It's really cheap. Tokens are super cheap compared to Anthropic or OpenAI or Gemini. And so that's where their project took off. Now, I'm going to tell you what I would have done if I were in their position. I'm going to show you something like what I've done. So on this channel, I started out using ChatGPT a lot, showing you guys how to use ChatGPT. I've moved on to more of like the Claude code. I'm experimenting with OpenClaw, though there is some security issues with it. But right now, this is my coding stack. If you're curious, I use Droid, which is just a wrapper for Claude code. So basically, Droid is an infrastructure, and you can it injects system prompts with your Claude. So it actually makes it more efficient. So it's able to hit 70% on these coding tests. Now I can show you some of the questions that they're answering. It gets 70% of the questions right and 30% of them wrong. Simple Codex right now is the top on the Terminal Bench leaderboard. And so it's 5% better, but I really like using Anthropic. You know, the tokens are cheaper. You get more bang for your bucks. So I'm really familiar with the Claude ecosystem. So I'll quickly just show you, if you go over to factory.ai, you can look at these. They have some pretty good results. Obviously, they're not top anymore on the leaderboard. They were for a long time, and now the new ChatGPT, it's the 5.3 Codex, is actually 5% better. I mean, it solves 5% more of the challenges. Now, the questions that it asks, these are like the questions. So things like, what is the chess best move? It's asking it like cancel async tasks. So if we look at these, you can see the pass and fail. So you can actually look specifically at what your coding project is, like DNA assembly, DNA insert. That's not really relevant for trading so much, but financial document processor, it's at 100%. So it got it correct. So in a way, it's, if you scroll through these, what is it able to solve versus not solve? It actually just might be, even though it's not at 100%, it's not at the top, it's still solving what your use purpose is. So I'll just show you over on my terminal here. So this is my trading engine, a Python file here. And if I just launch Droid, it's just the Droid command. So after you install factory, this is essentially Claude code, but you're typing it through Droid. It routes it into Claude for you. And so this is the secret that I've come up with. So I have my full trading engine, and this trading engine, it does a full optimization search. This is very similar to this is, of course, very similar to the backtesting system that I have on Signalswap.io. This website's currently in alpha testing. You can message me on Discord if you, of course, want access to test it out. But basically, you upload your Pine script, and it will run not just one backtest, but it'll do it thousands of times faster than going through TradingView directly. And so, of course, randomizing the candlesticks, doing more stress tests for you. But this is what my trading engine here, it does a very similar thing. You put the parameters that you want to test, and then it runs all of those backtests, and then it tells you which ones pass or fail, and it withholds some data so that there's no data leakage. In statistics, you don't want to, reveal your testing data in the training phase. You want to withhold it to see if it works on the training data, and then you reveal the testing data afterwards. And then you could do Monte Carlo as well as a further stress test. And then you can really test if your strategy is good. Now, what a lot of people on TradingView will do, which this is wrong. I really hope people stop doing this. But the important thing is that you don't just do one backtest, or if you're adjusting your strategy settings here, that you don't just start tuning variables and then see which one has the most net profit, and then you put that one live on your account. Because most often than not, your profit graph will, I don't think this one was tuned for this chart, but your profit graph will peak somewhere in the middle, or when you actually trained it, the date that you trained it will be the peak, and then it'll start going down from there, meaning it was overfitted and it's not performing in real time. So if you do your back test and you configure your settings, how does it do afterwards, like a week, 2 or 3 months or 4 months after that you actually did the training for it, you configure those parameters? After that is the important part, right? That's real time. So that's where you want your strategy to be flexible and to perform really well. So that's why we don't just stay inside TradingView for this. We need a stronger system if you're really interested in quant finance and robustness testing. So what can we do with this? We have our trading engine this took me a year to develop, of course. So, what can I do with Droid? Well, I can ask Droid, can you try new strategy rules for me? And the AI agent will look at my trading engine and it'll look what I have so far, and then it can add new layers. And I can even specifically have it reference white papers from different quant firms, or anything that's published that seems to work in robustness tests that's published in the literature. It'll take those white papers and try to use similar strategy rules, and it'll actually build the logic for me, and it'll test it in my already existing system. So that's my AI agent using my existing architecture to go ahead and actually build a robust strategy, and it could actually strip them out if it's not good, or it can. But my actual trading engine is telling it and informing it whether it's working or not. It's not just going into the AI, right? So this trading engine is assisting it and giving it an objective architecture to work off, like a scaffolding. And if you're not using that, then you're just blind, or the AI is just blind, and it's not going to get any right answer because it's not going to know what a right answer means. So for example, there's a lot of papers out there. This is how to avoid overfitting using robustness tests. This is just the abstract, but basically it says when developing algorithmic trading systems like what we're doing with AI, one of the primary considerations is what we call overfitting, which is one of the main things I cover on the channel. And everyone needs to understand this if you're getting into this, if you're building a strategy whatsoever. So this white paper outlines statistical methods which can be used to identify when it's actually overfitted, or if it's flexible enough to work in real time. So developers must use these methods if they want to maximize their chance of successful systems. So this is just 14 pages. But it's crucial for everyone to, if you actually are serious about this, download some white papers, start reading on these and get really informed. And also, of course, in my Discord community, we're talking about these all the time. This is the lifeblood of this. And when I first got into algorithmic trading, there was no communities about algorithmic trading. It was kind of lock and keyed, right? There was some Reddit threads that you might find something, but everyone kind of kept it all secret and the method secret. But if you come to the Trade Tactics Discord, there's a lot of people who are familiar with these concepts and who are building and sharing trading strategies that you can come and see. That they'll give you some good ideas and you can work and build together or work off them. And people are always sharing new and brilliant ideas. So the Trade Tactics Discord the link's down in the description if you want to come join and ask questions and contribute. So I'm using Claude Opus 4.6, and I have a bunch of different models in my model selector. So I could always go for like Codex, but for this video, I really want to use Opus 4.6 just for the. I have a good subscription for it, and just because I'm more comfortable with Claude Opus, and it's good for just because I'm comfortable with Claude Opus. So, but this will work with really any model you use. The important point here is that we have a good framework. Now, if you don't want to build a whole trading engine, because it is custom, you would be building it from scratch, then you can always come and be an alpha tester or a beta tester for Signalswap.io and just shoot me a message in the Discord. I'll get you set up, and I'll give you a free, if you really want to help out with alpha testing, I'll give you a free year of subscription for using this. Currently, the pricing, I think it's around $30, $40. So a year subscription, or maybe even like up to $1,000 value, just to come help out and actually report bugs and test all the features of the website. If you don't want to build your own trading engine and you just want to kind of use what we already have, really convenient here. But if you're a do-it-yourself type of person, you build your own trading engine from scratch. If you're into Python or Rust or any other trading languages, this is a really good way. So your trading engine will operate again on the file. So using the trading engine, so my prompt is basically, I'm just asking it to research white papers and then make proposals for this. And this is just going to be how we're going to devise our strategy entry rules. So I already have So this is just a simple prompt just to get started here. So it's asking, it's going to research white papers and then find really good entry rules for a trading strategy. And it's going to add that into my trading engine. And then it's going to run it through the engine to see if it's better than what we already have or not. So you can see it's doing web searches. The agent's going to go off. And this is where I can essentially walk away until the agent comes back with a bunch of decisions, and then we can try either one of them or multiple at once, and then just see side to side what they're going to result in. Now, essentially what this trading engine will do is I can just plug in the parameters I want to test, plug in the math for how it would enter and exit, and that it'll just run all of the back tests for all the based on the full optimization grid. That's completely hands-off and automatic. And because Droid is an agent, it could run these files. It'll just sit there and watch the results and log them to a file, and then it'll read them to compare. So it's giving me 4 options now. Option one is Hurst exponential regime filter, and I'm just going to read all of these 4 options. So it's giving me the core idea, the grid params for these, and then the pros and cons of each of these. So these 4 ideas are going to be really the base of the strategy, and that's going to be how we enter. And then there's 2 more phases to this. So if you're building a serious trading strategy, you want the entry signals, and you really don't want to layer, in my opinion, from my history, you don't want to layer too many of those together on top of each other, because that could easily lead to curve fitting. You really want one framework or scaffolding for how it enters. And then, of course, you want to have your exits. And then potentially you want it to avoid certain markets, or you want it to change behavior in those markets. So, for example, if the market is exceptionally choppy, maybe if you're doing like a trend following bot, maybe you want those areas to be let's suppose that you just want them to turn off. Or if you're more advanced, maybe you want it to change phases into a grid bot, and it'll take the recent high and low and then trade in the grid until it breaks out of there. And then, the bot will like not pause, but it'll just change dynamics. And so this is just basically one of these four. I'm not going to pick any of them. I'm actually just going to ask the Claude Opus to try all four of them. So it's given me A, B, C, or D to pick from, and I'm just gonna say try all four. Basically, like clone the system and then try all four and see which one is better. So here's the other question. It's asking me, do you want to run a tournament between 3 or 4 of these? And yes, so I want to do all of these. So it's taking my answers. It assessed what I really wanted to do, and then now we're running it. So that's why I shifted over to Droid and Claude rather than sticking with. I really like OpenAI. I was using ChatGPT for a very long time, and I actually built a lot of this trading engine with the assistance of ChatGPT, but it did take forever. Now Claude is really just getting the idea very, very quickly, and of course I have a system file where it knows what my trading engine already is, and then it's working with those. So for example, it already has a good assessment of how it all works, and then now it's just going to go ahead and operate on it. And once we get to the testing, the results hopefully are going to be better than what I already have. If I'm, or I could start this from scratch and then keep going from there. So while it's working, I can just walk away. And go and do something else, for example, but it's tracking its tasks. And this is the beauty of AI assisted trading. Again, notice how the AI is using my existing trading engine, but it is actually AI. It's developing the entire strategy for me hands off. And you can see it's building all these, adding all these in, adding the grid in that I want, all the parameters that it's going to test to see, is this better or worse? And compare that to, like, if you're building a trading strategy just on TradingView, you might add a new trading rule, and then you have to tinker with the parameters to see, well, is there any parameters, even though there's millions of different ones that you could possibly test? You don't know if it's robust because you're only doing a single backtest on each parameter. And so you don't even know if it's robust, and you have to spend all the time meticulously, like opening the settings and then clicking, okay, did this rule that I just added actually affect the results positively or negatively? And you go one by one, and then, most people are just looking at total P&L and they're not even paying attention to max drawdown. And that's where, you get lost, and you're going to get absolutely wiped out if you run that bot live. I mean, like, there's a chance that, maybe you start the bot and then, let's scroll out here. Maybe you start the bot and it's like the perfect moment, and it just so happens to be a really good trade, really good move, and, any bot could have figured that out. But where the challenge is, like, any bot can catch these really big, ginormous moves. But what happens when there's a liquidity sweep? Or what happens when let's just zoom in here. What if there's all of this chop? Like, people are offloading their coins, the market's kind of going flat, and then there's a really big dump. Is your bot even going to survive into the next move? Like, that's the important thing. That's why, all of these yellow bands on the screen here, these are actually areas where my bot is tuned. This is not tuned for this chart, but would be tuned to not trade in these difficult areas. It's only tuned to actually enter when there's more clarity in the market. So, for example, these boxes here, it's identifying this as a choppy zone. On top, of course, there's like multiple layers to that, telling it, oh no, definitely do not trade here. And so Claude is going to keep going for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's going to run its tests. And then by the time we come back to it, will have, edited our system, added in the modules that it needs for the next those 4 tests that I wanted to run to see if it's better or worse than my current setup. And this is something that, you could run, completely away from keyboard. You can sleep while your system is working overnight and trying to find better configurations. And maybe overnight it will find a better configuration. And so that is, that's the method. DeepSeek, they were trying to tune like an LLM model just for like devising these from scratch, but it's not going to work if you're not holding its hand, or at least giving it like an architecture for to run backtests, right? It has to have a way to know, what the net profit is, what the drawdown is for each configuration, and how to actually input those to know what the results are. Otherwise, it's just going to guess and he'll start hallucinating, and nobody wants that. So it's been about 5 minutes now, and all filters are done. All the logic is built in. So it's just asking me, how do I want to run the comparison? Do I want it to build like a script that automatically does all 4 side to side, or do I just want to do one by one? So I'm just going to ask it, do one by one, and then walk away, right? This is where, you could always just tell it in the system instructions, like, this is how we operate. And, you could just tell it, in the system instructions, this is how I want you to operate. So you don't have to have it ask you any questions at all. You can actually tell it, don't ask me questions. This is how, these are the answers to those questions. While it's running in the background, I just want to quickly explain what my vision is for the Signalswap.io website. And the idea is that if you run your robustness test through the system, we're able to assess, is the strategy actually robust or not? And that is published to the marketplace. Anyone can add to the marketplace. And of course, there's just a couple test bots right now on the marketplace. But the vision is that you can open this, and this is real data. This isn't a backtest on the overview. And then if you do switch over to the backtesting, that is the report gathered from the backtesting system, which I haven't done yet on this test bot, but it will be published there. So you could see, how did it do in Monte Carlo? How did it do in these stress test simulations? Because, the performance here is 100% real. You can only get onto the marketplace with real signals published, and it has to pass a certain amount. If it's not performing well, it can't get published to the marketplace. So I want it to be as proven as possible that you don't need to have the backtesting results if you don't want to. Like, if you have a trading configuration you did on your own, maybe you didn't do a backtest for that parameter set. But if you did, it's an extra selling feature for your strategy on the marketplace, and then you get to keep the overwhelming majority of the revenue generated from your strategy on the marketplace. So that's where the Trade Tactics Discord, I'm building an integration into Signalswap.io, and then the entire community can publish their trading strategies to the marketplace if they want for free. And you don't have to pay anything to publish. If you have a good strategy and you want to share it, you can publish it. So real data, number one, shows the real performance metrics gathered by actual webhooks, like sent from TradingView, to see what they actually were. So there's no kind of, like, when you look at backtests, sometimes people can make them look really good, or they can put Heiken Ashi candles, which obviously are that's not real backtests, because Heiken Ashi does curve fit by default. So people can have these really good looking backtests, and then if you subscribe to it, you're kind of just flushing money down the drain. So I want this website and this community to really value the real live performance, and then real stress tests for backtests. So that's where the website's headed. And of course, making those tools as available as possible through the backtesting system. So you can really, you might not have to sit there testing your parameters one by one. You can kind of just add your own signals, and then, test it really quickly, and then go back to the drawing board as, automatically run thousands of simulations. And you can run them in parallel with each other. So this is these are a couple test bots. There's a simple EMA strategy I put in there. Of course, not robust, because an EMA is not good enough for a trading strategy. And, that's what I want it to be able to do. So view full report. You can look at, where it did perform well, where it didn't perform well, what the drawdown was. And then if it is robust, then you get that checkmark badge on the marketplace that you can publish with it. Because, of course, it's something to be proud of that you made a robust strategy. But there's a lot of trading bot marketplaces out there that you don't really know what you're getting. So the goal is to show as accurately and with as much credentials as possible that the strategy is reliable and works in real time with real data. This is brilliant because it has 4 backbones, these 4 engines here, and what I'm asking it to do is add all of these trade suppression filters, but test them with each of the backbones, because I only want one backbone at a time. So it's going to test all 4 of those with, all of the trade suppressing versions. These are the same ones. It just made it as a trade suppressing version rather than the backbone. And then I can also change the signals. Like, I can ask how do you devise the signals for each of these? These are 8 possibilities that it made, 8 trade layers, I guess you could call them. And then we would trade them we would compare them side to side. We can modify the signals. Of course, this is just one hypothesis that it had based on the white paper that it read. And, I could ask it, is this true to the white paper or not? Because I want to stay as true to, the proven published literature as you can. And obviously, that's how we would get the best results. It's actually running the trading engine now. So once that runs, I'll publish the results in a future video for you guys. But that is essentially how I operate my trading strategies using AI, because AI with Trade Assist, like a trading engine assisting it, is 100 million times more powerful than without. So there's I'll wrap up the video here. Make sure you like and subscribe the video to see the follow-up video that I'll publish the findings here from these tests, and comment down below if you have any questions about this.